Late Night Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Crafting, coming to you on the last day of June. So Monday, June 30th. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, coming to you from Wisconsin. And it's about 11:30 p.m. Sorry, I didn't make it sooner. I had a gathering in the studio today, so there were 3 gals that stopped by. One of them is on my team, and it happened to be her birthday, so we wanted to spoil her a little bit. And then I was all set to get going, and I forgot I hadn't checked on my chickens, and I needed to set up the trail cam because we have raccoons out by us. So yeah, all the things to take care of, and then get some of this stuff prepped. So last night I did this Planted Paradise card, and I gave it away already, so I can't even show you a picture, but it was really cute. Today I'm going to case the catalog from last year, so the 2024 to 2025 catalog that ended in May. But here's the card I'm going to work on today. It may or may not look quite like this. That's what happens when we case a card, or copy and share everything, or copy and slightly edit. So I'm going to use different DSP, of course, probably some different colors. I'm not sure what color this is. Sometimes they don't show up real well in the catalog, but that might be like Lost Lagoon. I'm not sure. But I'm going to use some garden green, maybe some old olive. I brought in my lemon lime twist ink, so we'll see. Okay. I'm also bringing in this Unbounded Love bundle. Let me back up to this. This is on the last chance list. So if you like this style, or if you think what I'm creating tonight looks kind of fun, I was surprised. I had this for I probably had it for over a year, and discovered that I had not used it until last night. So if you think what we do tonight is kind of fun and you want to get it, you might want to get it before it's gone, because with it being on the last chance list, once it's gone, it is gone. Okay? So with this Unbounded Love bundle, stamp set, and the dies, I think it's $54.75 for the bundle. This is currently on low inventory. So I'm not sure if it's a stamp set or the dies that are on low inventory, or both. I didn't look. I just saw it popped up as low inventory. So if it does go out of stock, don't fret. It will come back. All right. So I am using, I put a happy birthday on here, but I'm not using this one. I'm going to restamp it, and I'm not sure if it's going to be a happy birthday or something else. We'll see. We'll see. All right. But this one, the way this card is designed, we'll be putting it this way or this way. We'll see. We'll figure it out. So I think I have cut everything that I needed. But I did bring in some scraps. This is my cards, or my designer series paper that I used last night, so we're not going to use that. I'm using a piece of designer series paper from the Woven Textures designer series paper, and I'm going to use some pecan pie. So whether you say pecan or pecan is entirely up to you. But I thought those looked nice together. And let's take a look at a couple of quick announcements. I forgot these last night. Today, June 30th, is the last day for the sweet deal. So if you buy one sweet, you get another sweet at whichever one's lower priced will be 50% off. Or if there are bundle items that are part of a suite, those would be marked at 50% off. So you've got a couple more hours to take advantage of that. If you are local to me, on July 23rd, I think is the date, it should be a Wednesday, from 10 in the morning until noon-ish, I will be doing a coffee and a card at Kat's Coffee House. So watch for more information on that. And the virtual album retreat is coming up. And that's going to be July 16th, 17th, and 18th. It is an online retreat. There's no fee for it. The online portion is included when you purchase the the kit, basically. And it's a big box. It's like a 3-inch tall box, 12 by 12, and then about 3 inches thick. There's 2 stamp sets that have over 120 stamps in them. There is some exclusive paper. There's all the cardstock that you need. Everything is pre-cut. You get page protectors. You get some flip flaps. You do not get the album in the kit, and that's because people have a personal preference as to what kind of album they like, whether they like the D-ring or the O-ring, I'm not sure, or the post ones. I kind of like the post ones for some reason. So the album is not included because, you know, people want to get what they want to get, okay? So it is $250, but like I said, you get a lot in that. You get a lot of exclusive stamps. You get some exclusive paper. The biggest thing is everything is pre-cut. You don't have to cut the little strips and try to figure them out. Every 2-page spread and its supplies are in individual bags, and there are 12 2-page spreads. There's some nice heavier, it's not as thick as normal chipboard, but it's thicker than cardstock for all of the months. And the layouts are really pretty cool. And it's going to be a 3-day, 8 hours a day, different trainers throughout the retreat to go through all of the things. So I'm looking forward to that. All right, so if you're interested in that, send me a message or leave me a comment and I can help you out with that. I will be doing a watch party for anybody that purchases that kit, but you will have access to the the virtual platform after the event, and it will be they'll have like chapters. So when they do 1 2-page spread, you don't have to like scroll through 10 if you left off on the 11th set. All right, so you'll be able to pick and choose where you stop and start, so you can watch that anytime. And that will be via private Facebook and private YouTube groups. All right, so enough of that stuff. I've been chatting for quite a while here. Wanted to get those announcements out of the way. So let's go ahead and just start doing some figuring out here. I did not cut any of the foliage or anything tonight like I did last night. I'm going to put this over here because I'm left-handed and it's easier for me to work. So I'm going to do a little bit of blending work on this piece of designer series paper just because I want some variation in the color. Okay. And we're going to end up putting some white cardstock on top of here, and I'm probably going to have it off to one side. So this is just all kind of coming off the cuff. We'll see how it looks. But I want to get this laid out on my card on the base. So what I'm going to do here is cut this one down to 3.5 by 5, I think. And we'll see how much fits on that. Okay, so 3.5 by 5-ish. All right, so that'll be a little different from this sample. Hopefully you can still see that. But I also want part of my card base to show, so I didn't make my layer of designer series paper the exact same size as my cardstock for my base. But then I'm also going to add a little bit of color on the bottom of here because the card that I made yesterday, it didn't look like it really had any kind of bottom or base when the vases went on it. So we're just going to make a little shadowing on here. All right. So the other thing we'll do then is we'll stamp. What do we want to stamp? maybe Just For You. I don't know if that will fit. Let's take a look. We've got Just For You. That will just barely fit, so let's go ahead and do that. And I'm trying to go in a little higher speed mode than I usually do. I'm kind of a putsy stamper normally, but I know it's later than I usually intend to be online here. So that looks pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and get rid of pecan pie. I think that's all we need that for. And then we can get rid of this as well. And for these Unbounded Love dies, this die here makes the frame piece with the foliage on there. And if you cut it out of different colors, which is what I did, I have one in Garden Green. So I'll have my frame in green, and then my sentiment is going to be in the white with the pecan pie. Okay. And I do have a little smudge on that. I wonder if I can fix it. Well, not a smudge, but it's missing a little bit of ink. Let's just take a look and see if I can line it up or not. Sometimes it works, and sometimes I just have to redo it. And that might actually be something on my stamp. It is. There's a little piece of lint on here. So we're going to let it go. And I'm not going to start singing the Frozen song because that's the first thing that just came to my head. So anyway, this is going to go in there on my other layer. All right, so these are really cool. They've got a lot of different frames on here with some little foliage pieces as well. So that is a really, really good stamp set, or dies rather. It's got a lot of variety. So here's the frame we're going to use. And the sample here shows some paper piecing. And I didn't really feel like I wanted to do that. So I put tear and tape on the back of my piece so that all of those little inserts wouldn't fall out. And the couple that did come out, I'm just going to leave them. I don't even mind that they're not going to be there. So that'll just give it a little variation there. All right. So this piece I'm not going to use. And I can get rid of that. Maybe. And this piece I can always save for a different project because I don't really need that. But this will end up coming in here. All right, so that's how that'll end up. And then we're going to go ahead and do some stamping. So I'm going to get a piece of some scraps here. And we're going to do the vase. And we'll do the roundish one again. That's the one we did last night. It was pretty fun. And I want to make sure I don't have any bubbles in there because that does kind of mess up my stamping. Oh, I can probably use that one today. That was an extra one from yesterday. And this is one where I used Calypso Coral and then I put Secret Sea on top of it, and it kind of made it a terracotta-ish brownish color. And then we'll do this one. Those I will fussy cut. And then we'll get some leaves going on here too. Some leaves. I'm trying to copy this loosely at least. And this has, they don't call it two-sided, they might, but these have the images where the stamps are kind of designed to go frontwards and flip them over so you get the smooth side. So you do like a two-step stamping, but you don't have all the lines in the second one, if that makes sense. You'll see in a minute because I'll use that. And let's do this one. I don't think we're going to do all of this. I might add that later, but we're just going to kind of get started and lay some of these things out, I guess, so that I don't waste your entire evening. So let's go ahead and get some garden green going on for this. We'll see how that looks. And then we can do maybe, well, we don't really need a couple more, but I'll stamp them since they're stamped up, since they're inked up. And then we're going to get some old olive. I'm going to flip these over. And we're going to do some stamping on this base. So wherever we're going to put that pot, that's where we're going to put these. So this pot's going to go over here. So let's go ahead and do, I got some Timid Tiger. We'll do one in Timid Tiger for up here. And these are the ones, whoops, I don't want to do that one because that's the one I'm going to use for my card. These are the ones that I'm going to cut out. And I should probably have my Pearson mat under here. But I didn't pull it in. And then I'm also going to use, let me close this one up so I don't get all inky. I'm going to use the Secret C for another one. These we're going to fussy cut. And then we'll do one more in Old Olive, and we'll do that bigger roundish one. We'll just kind of go like this so I don't have to maybe fussy cut quite as much. And again, I should have probably gotten my Pearson mat. There's a little missing on there, but we'll end up putting some leaves over that, I suppose. That'll be fine. All right, so let's go ahead and close up these inks for now. And I apologize, I am a messy stamper. I may have already mentioned that. So we're going to get some of these things out of our way that we don't need. And I will try to be quick. I'm trying to get a little border on there, but not a huge border. So sometimes I get just a little too close. And I am not a fan of fussy cutting. I don't think I'm very good at it because I see some people that just, I don't know, they seem like they're instinctual with it, where they can just really make it go. And I have to kind of really pay attention to make it look okay. So I typically don't fussy cut a lot. I mean, I know the technique. You move the paper and not your scissors, but I still think I overthink it or something and worry about it being too perfect maybe. I don't know. But some days it's easier than others. These are pretty basic shapes. Sometimes I think maybe I do better when I move the paper more, you know, like when I'm going around leaves or flowers or something. I don't know. My granddaughter's really good at fussy cutting. And I don't know where she learned it. I mean, we've been working with scissors for her for a long time. She's 7 now, so they must, I'm guessing, do quite a bit of cutting in school. But she likes to fussy cut. She likes doing videos with me too, so if you've ever caught some of my videos, she's a hoot. All right. I'm almost done. We can start getting some of these things laid out and stamp some of those foliage pieces. If I would have started prepping earlier, I would have had some of these cut out so that you wouldn't have to watch me fussy cut because I think people know how to fussy cut. They probably don't need to watch, but it is what it is. All right, so let's go back to here. I'm going to go ahead and glue this on. And I don't use a lot of glue, but I do spread it around. And I'm going to put this off kind of a little closer to the left margin so that there's a little bit more hanging off this side. Okay. And this piece is going to end up going over here. Okay. So when we lay these out, this will go here. This one's going to go here. This pot's going to go up here somewhere. And this one will go over here. Now yesterday I had this rounded one kind of in the back. And I had these others on dimensionals. But I think what I'll do is, I kind of like that one. It's kind of cute. So let's start with these and the lemon lime twist. And I'm going to stamp this off a little bit. Let's do that again. All right, so we're going to go right about here. Then these little pieces, I'm going to fussy cut them too, sorry. There's a little blemish there, but that's going to get covered by the pot. Okay. And then here we'll just take care of this one. And I'm not sure if I'll need those other ones or not. So these are going to kind of go here. And whoops, it seemed like yesterday I put some more on here and I had them going, it seemed like they were going in opposite directions. There we go. So let's put those there. And then we can add these too. So these will go here, and I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. I guess I don't need a whole lot of dimensionals, but I'm going to put 3 so it doesn't wiggle around. So we'll put that on dimensionals. That's pretty cute. And then this one I'm going to end up just gluing there, and I did cut out some of these pieces ahead of time. So those, whoops, those are just going to come in here. That one's upside down too. So this uses a different stamp. Those might be stamped right on there. Let's take a look. Yes. Those are stamped on there. So let's pull this stamp out and stamp a few of those. And let's do that in Old Olive. I think that'll look good. So we can just scooch these over here. Maybe stamp off a little bit. And maybe put one down lower. And these I think I'll put, let's put a couple of pieces of tear and tape on here. And then we can add these branches right onto the vase here. We'll see how that looks. I like to get a sample done ahead of time, but time has just not been my friend lately. So let's just pick those up. That'll be good. And then I'm going to glue this down around the edges where the tear and tape's not. And then I'm just going to put a couple of little drops here. Hopefully I wasn't working entirely off camera. Just a little bit on there. And I like to use the liquid glue just because it does give me some wiggle room. So if I have something positioned just a little off, I can fix it. And here's one more little piece. So I think we'll put a little glue there too. And if you're finding a lot of people don't like the liquid glue, and what I have found that the problem usually is you're using too much glue. If you're having a problem with it, you know, getting on your fingers and messing up your project, it's probably because you're using too much. Okay, so this piece is going to go up here. I was thinking of stamping some of them on the Very Vanilla, but I ended up not doing that. Let's get rid of those. And this will go on top of here somehow. So now what I need are the little ropes. And I'm just going to use the pecan pie, which is here somewhere. Here it is. Use pecan pie for those. And there's two different rope pieces. So there's one that's rounded. I think we'll use that one. And there's one that looks like it's just woven rope. So we'll just see how these look. Make sure I'm getting the right setup that I need. All right, so we need this little piece. I'm going to take it off of my base here. So this little piece will go here. And then we'll have another one going here. That looks pretty nice. And I'm not going to put that pot on there, so I don't even have to worry about that. So this one I'll put up on dimensionals. I won't have to do that because I think we're going to glue that right there, just how they show. So that's going to go on there. And I'm going to have that hanging off here a little bit. And we're going to put some of these pieces in and around this pot. So let's pull in that base again. This is really a putsy stamp set, but I think it's really cute. So let's put this back over here. We can put these down. And I will take a picture when I'm done here and post it on my Facebook page. So if you've got this set, or if you decide to get this set, or if you have one that's similar and you decide to make something on your end, you can always go to my Facebook page and add a comment and a picture. I'd love to see what you make as well. So I'll put this one down here. And then this one, I think we're just going to put here, and that'll kind of cover up my little goofus there. And I'm not going to put that on dimensionals. I'm just going to glue that down. And I'm going to leave the top unglued because I need to put these other little pieces here. So I really like this. Oh, I was going to move that over a little bit more to cover up my missed spot. All right, so let's get this out of the way. This is going to end up going here. Ish. This will be in here. This pot will be on top with some of these coming down. So I might end up doing some paper piecing. We'll see. This can go in here. And I'll have to have it buried enough so that it's not hanging off the top of the card. We might actually just put this under here. I might like it better under there. Under or over, if you've got an opinion, go ahead and let me know. But this will go here. The pot will go there. And I will try to get them straight, but we can add those there. And it'll look kind of like so. Kind of. But I'll have things lined up when I start attaching them. All right. So I think that's pretty fun. It was a little putsy to get going. And if we move this a little bit. There, that's a little bit better. That gives you a little better idea of what it's going to look like. And then I will add these pieces and I will fussy cut those. And I might stamp them since they'll be covered by these top ones. And we'll just see how it looks. If you want to hang around for that, you're more than welcome to. I think I'll play with it a little bit while I'm here still. And I don't, here we go. We can stamp a couple of these. Let's see how they look. Make sure I've got the right side up here. And we'll do the garden green. That one, we'll add some more garden green here. I kind of like them stamped off. I don't know if I like the one that's full strength, but then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this over and use some old olive maybe. And we can actually put some of that. Let me get this. I'm going to put one of those there. And I probably should have done that before I glued my piece down, but it's not going to matter because once we put these on here, it'll be camouflaged. So let's go ahead and close these up. And I'm actually going to put a little bit of lemon lime twist, I think. So let's clean this off. There we go. I'm just going to put some lemon lime twist behind here. Stamp that off a little bit just to give it some added color inside. All right. On to some more fussy cutting. So these should be pretty easy because they're just kind of wavy. And they wouldn't have to be perfect. So that'll tuck in there. And I don't remember what that's called when the stamp sets are designed to be used on the back. And that's what this is for. When you see any stamp sets where it's just a light gray solid image, that means you use this stamp and just turn it over to the back side. And I'm guessing any of our stamps could do that. I'm just not sure why they don't all kind of advertise that way. I've never really tried it. So we're getting there. Maybe one more. I stamp more than I'd figure I'd need, but I'd rather stamp more when I'm on a roll than have to get everything set up and not do an assembly line method. And you may not be able to see where I did the lemon lime twist. And I don't know if I can get it close enough for you to actually see it or not, but you can kind of see here where it fills in that line with the color, so it's just not a stark white in the middle of the leaf, if that's what they call these. Okay, so there's that. So that's going to go there. I'm going to put just a little bit of a margin over on this side, and we can center that a little bit. This will go here with these leaves in here. I will probably do a little bit of paper piecing. Maybe not. We'll have to see. And then this will come up here. And then we'll put a couple of embellishments on. And there we go. Move these things out of here so I can kind of bring in the catalog without disrupting the card too much, because I haven't glued everything down, but I will. And we'll make sure nothing goes over the edges. And I might try a different sentiment. I'm not sure if I'm really happy with that. And I might do a little bit of blending brush to break up that white, because that seems pretty stark to me. I do like the little bit of pecan pie that I put down here to kind of shade it. So I might do a bluish, maybe a bluish, we'll see. So it seems a little bit more like you're looking at the sky, or maybe a little darling duckling would look good. All right. But I will take a picture of this when I have it all wrapped up and finished. And I could probably do a couple of those leaves too. I didn't do that. Those could hang over there like that does. So I'll do a couple of finishing touches on there. I will post a picture of this on my Facebook page, which is also Lori's Little Bit of Crafting. And until next time, happy crafting.